What's cracking, everybody? New video. Welcome back to the channel. Maybe I said that backwards today. It's all good. You get it. Let me see. What about the lighting? That's probably better, right? Upstaters. Upstaters. That's what we're going to talk about today. Some people have asked me repeatedly to speak on upstaters and on my opinion or some, I don't know. I've been doing state time. I got busted. I went to YA. I got busted in 89. And I hit YA in February of 90. Right? And one of my buddies, one of the first dudes I met, cool ass motherfucker, was Snoopy from San Jose. VST. I think it was VST. And the fact that he was from San Jose didn't matter. Not to me or the dudes I was kicking it with. I met him through Nappy and Green Eyes from Lomita Bakers. They had been in NRCC with him, and they were like, "That Vato got hands." He's the same guy I told a story about. He had hands, man. Short little dude, Snoopy with the fucking butterfly right here. And there was a cop. And the cop thought he had hands. The cop's name was Fatico. Weird ass name. And that's how it started. We were like, "Hey, what kind of name is?" Well, really, Snoopy goes, "Hey, what kind of name is that, man?" And he goes, "Japanese." The dude had blonde hair and like green eyes. And he's like, "Japanese? Were you adopted?" And he goes, "No, I'm half Japanese. You know, I look more white." And he's like, Snoopy was like, "If you're Japanese, you know martial arts?" And it turned into Snoopy telling him, "Look, wait, it don't matter what you know. I bet you I'll whoop your ass." Right? And that cop was down. It wasn't one of the counselors. It was one of the GSs, the ones that dressed like the CDC cops, right? So that cop was like, Psh. He goes, "I'll fucking fight you." And Snoopy was like, "Well, check this out. Tell the cop to open my cell. My cell is whatever, right?" And he goes, "Tell him to crack my cell. I got to get something out of there." And he goes, "If you think you could whoop me, come on in there." And he did, man. The cop went in there. Shout out to Fatico, because you probably don't have a job there at all anymore. But he went in there, man, and, you know, right away, you know how it is. I went and grabbed a broom and acted like I was sweeping, because I was like, man, if I'm going to sweep by this cell, and if that cop is on top of him or beating him up, I'm jumping in. We're fucking this dude up and catching the case. And when I went by, I said, shit, maybe the cop needs some help. But anyway, so yeah, I met Snoopy, and then I met several other vatos from San Jose, right? And there was never a term. It was just, hey, that's the homie. That's the homie so-and-so. And that's how they were viewed, right? Especially by those of us that weren't from Los. I'm going to keep it real. So then I hit the CDC, right? And, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. So yesterday's story, when I talked about my cellie, and my cellie he was struggling with the passing of his brother, right? And I knew that if I didn't move him out of the cell, I was going to wind up either whacking him or having him whacked. And so, because I did like the dude, I moved him next door with my camarada. And I said my camarada was from Santa Rosa. Not only was he my camarada, but, you know, lately I've been talking a little bit more about things I didn't in the past. You know, I still have, I'm only going to go so far. And there's certain things I just won't talk about, period. But, so, you know, like I said, in that spot, I had some authority. Now, every one of us that had a seat there, we all had somebody who was our right-hand dude, to where if I get snatched up, this dude steps directly in for me and who I was under. Right? So whenever we had a meeting, whenever we had a sit down, whenever something was put on the table and we discussed it, we would all go back to our, you know, whoever your backup plan was. And so homie from Santa Rosa was my backup. And I would let him know, hey, this is, you know, what happened. This is what went down. This is what was said. Whoop. Because we couldn't have 5 of us throwing a junta on the yard, and we each have we can't turn it into 10 dudes so that everybody hears verbatim. You know what I mean? Word for word. So we have to go back. And anyways, I'll tell you that when I was in New Folsom, it was funny because as it is, you know, me being from Santa Barbara, you would have some people that didn't know where Santa Barbara was and they thought it was up north. I had one vato tell me, hey, is that by like the Bay Area? I was like, man, it's in Southern California, fool. What the fuck's wrong with you? And he's like, hey, Jose, anytime I hear anything with Santa in it, I think it's in Northern California. I'm like, fool, where's Santa Monica at then? You know what I'm saying? Like, but anyways, even there, man, and this is in the 2000s, I didn't hear anybody, this is the mid 2000s, right? I didn't hear anybody using the term Upstater, right? Again, it was just, that's the homie. That's the homie from Frisco. That's the homie from San Jose. That's the homie from Kings County, right? That's the homie from Salas. Well, Salinas, they would say, right? That's the homie from Santa Cruz. It wasn't, that's an upstate homie. They used to say that I was, that I would try to always protect the vatos that were from up north, right? The homies from up north, right? And it wasn't that, man. It was, I was always very blunt. You know, somebody asked me the other day, hey, Dubs, were you always serious in there or did you clown around too? Of course you clown around. You clown around as much as you can when you can. But you also have to remember, those of you that have been in the joint, you know, whatever faction you represent, if you give a fuck, you represent it right. So you don't walk around dirty. You don't walk around, everything you do, you want to be professional. So when there's a time to play, you play with those in, how do I say it? Like, you're not going to just be acting a fucking fool and looking stupid because you're representing something that's a whole lot bigger than you. And you can get attention on you like, this motherfucker's a fucking idiot. And if you're lucky, they'll just send you on the hotlet to get you to learn something in the hole. And you can come back out and act a little different, right? But got sidetracked there. But I had a thing where I've always been extremely blunt. People knew, like, if you wanted the truth, you could ask me. I'm not gonna bullshit you. I used to tell people, the truth might hurt, homie, but a lie will get you killed. You know what I'm saying? And I had a problem with if there were homies that, because they were from Southern California, they would, you know, use the term 13 and a half to anybody that was, you know, from Northern California, but a homie, right? And I mean, there was more than one occasion where I had to ask somebody like, hey, are you somebody that, like, we didn't know about? And they would be like, huh? I'm like, are you somebody that we didn't know about, but we need to know about? And they'd be like, no, why? Then who the fuck are you to judge them? You know, when his number comes up, and if he says no, or he makes excuses, or he fucks it off, then, you know, question that individual. But nobody here gets questioned by anybody. We're all equal. Everybody's fucking equal here. And so there used to be whispers, he's always looking out for them dudes up there. Maybe I was, but I was looking out for equal treatment for everybody. So one thing that I do want to say is this, man. I think people, I mean, it's too late. The title's been put out there, right? But when you have something that has a title to it, when it went from now, like, again, like when I was a kid and there would, hey, who's that? Oh, that's the homie from San Jose. When it no longer goes, that's the homie from San Jose, instead it's, that's one of them Upstaters. Do you see the difference? Unfortunately, when you give yourself a separate name, there's going to be those that already had a bias that are going to play on that. So I don't know how it became a thing where the vatos from up there said, you know, hey, let's start calling ourselves that. But it could lead to something down the line where it becomes its own thing, and which could become very dangerous. Me personally, I don't give a damn about jail. You know, I would love to see our gente just learning a different way to live, eh? I wish, people tell me sometimes in the comment section, damn, man, you're still talking about prison? Yeah. Basically just talking about my life experience. I'm sharing my views based on my life experience. Had I grown up on the streets, had I become a doctor, then I'd be talking to you about surgery or something like that, right? I don't think it's that hard to understand why I talk about what I talk about. I think that, God blessed me with an opportunity to come out here and give my perspective on things. And I think hearing different perspectives is always important, right? We can't all be the same. But, to me, it's Friday. I'm going to keep it real with you. It's Friday. I'm kind of lightweight rambling. But I did want to speak on the whole, upstate thing. I don't know why I feel kind of uncomfortable saying upstate. The vatos up there are cool with it, then so cool. Then I understand that I'm not being disrespectful, but I know that in my time, I know in the 90s in YA, in the early 90s, I know if I would have called Snoopy an upstater, we would have had a fight, I think. Because he would have been like, hey, homie, I ain't no fucking different than you. What are you trying to say? You know what I'm saying? And so that's just my opinion, man. I think, there's the end of hostilities. There's people engaging with people in a different type of way now, which is a great thing. But like I said, I would love to see people engaging in the educational system rather than the correctional system. We've been doing it long enough, man. We need to start bettering our position. Our neighborhoods are dying off, which is a great thing. But who's moving in and pushing us to other places? It's because we are not educating ourselves and we are still caught up on that hamster wheel, man. We got to get off of it. So anyways, with that said, I just want to make sure I tell you guys, look, happy Friday. If you're going to get your party on today, tonight, whenever, be safe, man. Be smart, all right? And tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out.